Hello, today I'm going to show you how I cut 5-inch squares from a piece of fabric, a full width piece of fabric. So I'm going to use the markings on my board to help me with this. So the fabric is the full width, as you can see, but I folded it, it's in half and then in half again, so that's now only quarter the width of the fabric. And I'm going to lay this on my board, and as I said, I'm going to use the markings on the board, and I'm going to line up that fold and make sure that my selvages in the fold are even at this end. And I'm going to just do a little trim first so that I can make sure that I'm getting a nice straight edge on both sides of my strip. So I'm going to cut a 5-inch strip from this piece, and I've lined up so that my markings above and beyond are level, and I'm going to trim that little tiny edge off so that now I've got a nice straight edge here. Then I'm going to use again the markings on the board, and I'm going to count out my 5 inches because I'm doing a 5-inch strip, and making sure that my ruler is straight each end of the fabric, and then I'm going to cut through that, and I'm going to then have a nice 5-inch wide strip, the full width of the fabric. So I would probably use about 4 fabrics, and I would iron those all together to then cut them into squares. So now I'll go to the ironing board. So when I'm ironing my strips ready for cutting, I like to lay them out full length, and as you can see I have a wonderful ironing board. And then I lay the next strip on top, exactly on top, and I iron that one as well. And by ironing them each time, this gives them a nice flat togetherness. Then I would take another strip. Now I might position 4 fabrics and cut them all at once. Maybe not any more than 4, because after that they can start to move and your squares won't be so square when you cut them. So this is my 4th fabric, which I'm just laying on top and ironing, and now I have that all ready for cutting into squares. So I'll now take that strip, and that will act just as one strip, and take that back to the cutting board to cut into squares. So now I'm bringing my strips back to my cutting board, and again I'm lining up my strip along the markings of the board. And I'll take my ruler and my cutter, and first of all I'm going to get rid of the selvages on the end. So I'm going to line it up so that they're just beyond the first marking on the board, and I'm going to trim the selvages off. And then I'm going to count along 5 inches, and I'm going to cut again. And I'm going to count along another 5 inches, and so on till I get to the end of the strip. And then I will have a whole selection of beautiful 5-inch squares. And the strip will be longer than your board, so when you get to the end of the strip, you may find you want to just bring that further on and line it up again with your line there and along the lines of the board, and again counting your 5 inches until you get right to the end of the strip. And you'll have a little bit left over, which is always very useful for all sorts of other small projects. But in the meantime, you have a very nice collection of 5-inch strips, and you can get 8 5-inch squares across one width of the fabric. Thank you.